what floral stories do you have
Yeah.
to tell me?
Okay. So this is a story. So my mom is really into like basically anything nature, and we were at a grandma kind of she turned like 75 or something, so there was a big party and there were like a lot of children like who I would not see very often or actually saw for the first time, I guess.
Okay.
And like okay, so to sort of specify the story, I was like I guess 10 years old or something.
Mm-hmm.
And what we did was we so there was a big tree outside and there were bushes with I don't know what they're called in English, but rose bottles. Like they're the small little fruits. They're kind of
Yeah.
bitterish and yeah. So there were like bushes and bushes with these things up there,
Mm-hmm.
and so we would rose hip. Is that what they're called? Okay, that's what chat says.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and so there we would lure adults outside with various excuses. Like we were like 10 children or something, maybe like
Uh-huh.
maybe
Uh-huh.
less actually. And we would lure them outside and then uh, toss these fruits at them. Um,
Okay.
which was fun. I mean, like we can't throw for shit, obviously, and I mean, no harm, no foul. But the excuse I used to lure my mother outside was that I'd seen a nice um, toadstool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a word. Like
That is a word, yes. If
yeah,
you mean some sort of mushroom, then it's
yeah, a
also the right
mushroom
word.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd seen like a this really cool mushroom under this big tree. So I sort of guided her like under the tree and I was like, yeah, there's a mushroom over there, do you see it? And she was like, no, I didn't see it. And then everyone started like pelting her with the fruits, and afterwards she said she was actually kind of disappointed because she thought I had shown an interest in nature for once. So yeah, so I mean, the pelting with fruits, that's totally okay, but she was just disappointed that I wasn't actually interested in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, big old disappointment.
Yeah. So my mom is definitely not into the floral aspects,
Mm-hmm.
but she's much more into, I guess it's then what you call the fauna, right?
Yeah,
So
the
the
animals.
animals. Yeah. And then mostly into birds.
Yeah, you
But
used to go to the bird zoo, right? A
yeah,
lot.
the zoo was definitely also a thing, but it very much depends on the zoo. So, for example, Artis is one we did not frequent
Okay,
because it was far too small, according to my mom. Right,
I
so that
can sort
wasn't
of
fair to the
imagine. Yeah.
animals. Yeah. So the one that she loved, and we took her there for her birthday last year, was Burger Zoo in Arnhem.
Ah, okay. Yeah, but you also went to Avifauna, right? Like the
Yeah, yeah.
bird
So the
zoo
bird zoo.
specific.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely,
No, I've
definitely.
actually also been to Burger Zoo. I think with my grandma. She lives around there.
Mm.
It's a good zoo,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
and I don't like. I've been to Artus like way back. I think maybe even in high school. So that must have
Yeah, I
been
think
with
we
you
went
then.
there. Yeah, because we also went to the astronomy part of it then, I think.
Yeah, I do recall that. So yeah, but I don't like. I guess it is a lot smaller, right? Because it's just smack in
Yeah,
the middle of Amsterdam. So it can't be
exactly.
as big
Yeah,
as Burger Zoo. Like
yeah,
it's you can't
yeah.
really do that. Ooh, there was a sort of icon blinking at the bottom.
Yeah, it's probably because I zoomed past one of these things.
Oh yeah, okay.
Maybe. Or it said game saving. I don't know.
Yeah, it looked like a wireless signal, but it's part of the game, not Steam warning for something.
I guess. I don't
think
know.
it looked very much in style. So
Okay. Okay. Well, the game doesn't even know that we're using remote play, right?
yeah,
So, I mean,
no,
it's not even a game I own on Steam. So,
yeah, yeah,
all
and
right.
you've had a lot of birds over the years, right? Or
Yeah. Well, always parakeets, but
yeah,
yeah, plenty of those. Yeah. Yeah.
like
My mom still has a couple now.
the same kind that you find flying around everywhere because people release them, or like the green
I
ones.
yeah, the green ones. So in Dutch they're called grasparkieten.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure they're the same ones as outside because so we adopted a few from the bird hospital that my mom used to be a volunteer at,
Mm-hmm.
and they always needed adopting because they couldn't survive on their own outside.
Yeah. No,
So
the
I'm
ones
not
that
sure if
are
they're exactly the
outside
same.
are halsbandparkieten.
Yeah, to me they feel like they might be a bit bigger,
Okay.
but maybe not. I'm with our friend in chat. Uh, this concept, could you use it for another type of game? And if so, what kind of game? Because the concept really appealed to both of us. But yeah, we weren't sure how to accurately describe it, but also how to.
How to sort of.
Yeah, I mean, so this is basically, well, they call it, I think, a warehouse simulator,
Yeah.
right? But it's the notion of together making structure out of something and
Yeah.
continually updating that structure.
I mean, so I guess that part of it sort of falls into what I consider the sort of Factorio category, right? So you have some logistical issues and you're solving that. So that's sort of where it falls in my mind. I guess. Yeah, so I mean, it does really fall in the simulator category, right? Mini Metro
Yeah.
sort of goes along with this.
Yeah,
Right.
although I feel Mini Metro is way more, I don't know, stressful is not the right word, but I feel like I have less control over.
Yeah, I can sort of imagine why you say that. It feels a little bit. So there, the spawns can really sort of influence what's going on, and here, at least up until now, it feels like if you've got your stuff like sorted out, then it's
Yeah.
not that big of a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty let's circle back to this. I
Good.
think
Yeah, let's do an order and then.
it falls into the simulator category, but I do, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It does tickle something. So yeah. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
I'll get the game. How do you organize your computer files?
Yeah, well, that's always a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, just like in here, things often fit in multiple categories. And for me, for work, there's usually the additional requirement that lots of stuff needs to be backed up.
Yeah.
So we have some sort of university system for that you can use, which I used for a long time, but now most of it I try to just put in Git.
Yeah.
And then for me, so the main criteria is who else should be able to access the files, and I try to base it on that. So, for example, for coursework, I have a folder for slides or a directory or whatever you want to call it. A repository, I should say, for slides and one for exams, and then I can give different people access to the different repositories.
Yeah, makes sense.
Is that similar to what you do, or?
Yeah, so so most of the stuff I do tends to be in Git. So like any code I write is in Git, and well, that's just like that organizes itself, right, by repository, and that's good enough. and I just have like a single projects folder with work and then all my repositories.
But for example, if you write documentation about the project in the
Yeah.
form of reports to a supervisor or something,
Yeah,
that
so
doesn't go in the repo, I guess, right?
in generally yes, or well, so at the moment, like any documentation just goes in Markdown files along with the code. Like
I
because we
see.
publish it all up to GitHub, it's just like people can easily get to it, and you can like even product owners, you can just pass them a link and they'll read that fine. Um, I do have presentations in PowerPoint, which I tend to put in like SharePoint, and we have a massive system for that. And I just hope that I pick the right folder, and then yeah, it should
Yeah.
be good. But other than that, like my personal files are just basically there's one layer of categorization on my document, and then it's just I throw stuff in there until I notice a pattern, and then I'll create some subfolders here and there. But mostly
Right.
I really rely on stuff like search and recent documents for a lot of things.
Yeah, recent documents is definitely a lifesaver.
Yeah.
That helps me a lot too.
Ever swam with flippers?
Probably as a kid, right? When you buy the snorkeling set, it contains the flippers.
Yeah, so I've actually never snorkeled. Like I've
Yeah, okay, but not like, I don't mean professional
no.
snorkeling, if that's a thing, right?
No, I mean like I always just like on holiday I would swim
Mm,
without glasses, or we would just like we had some toys like the balls to throw, and but I would just like I would swim without my glasses and just
right,
it would be
right.
fine.
Yeah, so I've also swam without my visual glasses,
Yeah.
right? The ones that help me see. But I did usually own a pair of swimming glasses. Not prescription, obviously, but just for swimming in the sea, especially.
Yeah, I guess. Like
It,
in general, I would like in most of my swimming was on in swimming pools, but like in the sea, I guess. Yeah, either
yeah,
I
you
just
didn't really have beach holidays, right?
not that much. Like if so when we were younger, we would go to sometimes. So we went to Normandy one time. So we had some like there's some nice beaches there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the the Americans agreed actually, and uh, then we have like usually we would be near like a river or something, or
Right.
the camping would have a pool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and I think like once I got older, I liked swimming less, and one of the reasons is that I would go there without my glasses and I would just not be able to see anything, right? So
Right. Yeah.
it's
Okay.
kind of
That doesn't help.
annoying. And
Yeah. Yeah.
but like a year ago, I guess. No, probably more like two years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We went to France again, and we had a pool, like an apartment with a pool fairly close, shared with a couple other apartments, and like the weather was okayish, and it was like in a sort of greenhouse construction, so it was really warm. So that
I
was
see.
nice. Like
Yeah.
I swam a couple laps there.
Yeah. 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 So most of my holidays were just one day of going to the beach, one day of going to the pool, and then alternate. Uh, so yeah, that was. I swam quite a lot as a kid,
Yeah,
but over
you
the
didn't
past
get
few years,
subjected to museum visits.
not at all. Not at all.
Not
No.
unless you went on holiday with me, of course.
Exactly. Exactly. I've seen
Uh,
more museums in that one week in London than I had in my entire life until that point, I think.
yeah,
So,
yeah, looks like it. I'm still amazed how I totally sort of misjudged the car wheel. Do you know the rabbit or duck drawing?
Is that the one where you? No, that's a duck or an island, I think, where you hold it upside down.
Yeah, no. So there's a duck or a rabbit one where you turn it a quarter, and then it's like it's
Ah,
either a duck or a rabbit.
right,
Which
right.
it has like I still when I now see the car wheel, I have the same thing that at first don't see the car wheel. I see like the gong or whatever. Like
Yeah, yeah.
basically I see the blue in that picture as a sky. That's basically what's what.
Ah, I see what you
That's what
mean.
happened.
I see what you mean. Okay, okay. Yeah, it's interesting still how your first association is then gong. I would go for like target for as in archery.
Yeah, but that's so for it was also coupled with the fact that we just made the Japanese category, and
Okay.
like for a target, like the rings are uneven, which is kind of weird for a target.
Fair, fair. Yeah.
Okay, call in the next one.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I told you, but the other day I got I got a call from one of my elderly neighbors who her email broke, and
Okay.
she'd been on the phone with Zigo and they couldn't help, and in the end it turned out like she could just log into her webmail just fine, and but it was just that somehow her password had to reset. So it was just,
Ah,
or I don't know, like when I opened the view, like you have the password. It was on the iPad, so I don't know how it works anyway. But if you went to settings, like the email settings had only a one character password thingy. And so
mm,
basically, then I asked her, like, what is your password? And she had to go and look it up on the massive paper with all her passwords. And it's, yeah,
that fixed it.
yeah, that fixed it.
Yeah, I still am sometimes surprised by the fact that people still use that email addresses provided by your provider.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
My dad is still on one as well. I mean,
but
it's
it really vendor locks you, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah, but does it vendor lock you that much less than Gmail? I
well,
guess. Yeah. Okay.
I
I guess
mean,
it
I
vendor
don't, I
locks you for your internet.
it,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I never switch providers because only Ziggo can get me decent internet here. Um, but if I had different options, then I don't see why I wouldn't just switch every year to get the bonuses and stuff,
I mean,
right?
so, but do you do that for energy and stuff?
I currently don't because again, Green Choice gives me benefits from some of the green crowdfunding shit I'm in.
Sure.
But so that I guess has also vendor locked me.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I don't really see a reason as to why you wouldn't profit from it, right?
It's the hassle to me mainly. Like I don't really care to uh, switch over my internet connection every like I finally got my router settings working, so that's
Yeah. Okay.
always good. And like with
Yeah.
energy it's the same stuff, right? So I mean if you just pick one that doesn't rely on people not switching to make a profit and just so I'm also with Green Choice, but mostly because they had just like they had a smaller joining bonus than the rest, but just their prices were just best over the long term.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just a lot less hassle. And
Yeah. But I mean, so for energy, the only real hassle is doing the research, right? You don't
yeah, but
actually notice it.
I guess it's I
I
guess
agree
that's
that for internet, there is much more hassle.
yeah.
Indeed, the router is something I'd forgotten about, but definitely not something I would look forward to either.
Yeah, so I think my dad might even be like for the longest time he was sort of vendor locked with an email address of a provider that got taken over. So like
Mm,
I mean the so at some point I think actually the one who took over said like, hey, we're gonna stop servicing that email, like that domain. So
Right.
good luck,
Right.
and here's your new email address.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in the olden days, they also used to give you web space, right? That's where the money is at, basically.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But like we actually, so my dad got a like HTML for Dummies book, and
Okay.
he built, like, he drew this where, like, he took pictures of all of us, the four of us, and he sort of sketched over that, and he made like abstract pictures of us, and then each of us could have our own web page behind the picture. So like my mom had a
Okay.
couple of our paintings, and I don't know what he had actually. And my sister had a drawing of hers behind it, and I had this hideous page with like a lime green background, and yeah, it was absolutely horrific, but it
So
was
this is
fun.
now going to use the Wayback Machine to try and find it.
Yeah, I guess I highly doubt it's spiders, but that's
Fair enough.
like
Fair enough.
it was on like it was on one of those domains like generated by the provider, and then like I wouldn't know where to find it. It was also like, so what was really funny is that you sort of know my dad, he's very aesthetically focused, so and this was before proper CSS and such. So what he
Ah.
did was, like, we had the HTML and we had everything inlined, like all the styles, all the placement, everything. And the placement was all absolute positioning, and it was all like pixel perfect lined out. So what happened was, if for some reason like your screen was a little bit different, or you used a different browser, or there was a scroll bar for some reason, like half the page sort of shifted, and it bothered him to no end. Yeah, that doesn't seem to work.
Yeah, I was able to move it up 1 or 2 spaces.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
think. No.
But did you select everything and then sort of
No,
like...
so I selected everything around it,
Oh, okay.
and then if you
Oh,
push,
wow.
it takes a lot of time, but you can
Yeah, okay.
move it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I would like to find it back. Like, we should, I don't know. My dad backs up everything, so we might have it somewhere, but we've gone through a couple of desktops since then.
Exactly. A couple of hardware generations have passed, so
Yeah, like 3 or so maybe. Like we got a lot of mileage out of our machines.
fair enough.